How to Create a Glitch Monologues Season 6 Chapter 9. This is Episode 9 of How to Create a Glitch in the Matrix Monologues, Season 6. In this episode we will be discussing the relevance of the path of affirmation to assertive thinking and concealment. In this episode, we will be talking about the difference between the path of negation and affirmation as it relates to the expression of meaning. The path of negation is ultimately a path which involves the projection of a filter on others, limiting their ability to express themselves according to that particular filter. Individuals subject to that filter will find themselves in a consensual reality, and from the standpoint of their expression of meaning and self will be limited except during outs to a role-based identity. When the negating individual absents themselves, only then will the other actors be able to express themselves fully. The path of affirmation also projects, but it projects an assertiveness with respect to a perception of the other. It asserts what is a non-consensual reality on others to the extent that others act along the path of negation. That being said, the path of affirmation and assertiveness as to that path is contagious because once negation is undone, the individual becomes accustomed to the non-consensual reality that follows. Now, further to the above, the path of negation being the path of concealment, produces in others the involuntary concealment of their selfhood to the extent that this negation produces the consensual reality, and barring outs, which permit the actors to express themselves fully. In other words, it is in the path of negation that we project or manifest reality in accordance with an archetypal assertion. It is in the path of affirmation that we find our negation undermined and our self manifested non-consensually according to a affirming narrative. Thus, regardless of whether we follow the path of negation or the path of affirmation, our observations tailor others' behavior according to given narratives that ultimately may result in a non-consensual reality, one produced by our absence or presence respectively. Be that as it may, the end result of the path of affirmation pursuant to assertive affirmation is pure and simple emotionality, a level of expression which belies concealment. Ultimately, however, this expression is constructed upon a perception of another and therefore is indirect ground, a self-limiting form of foundation that belies our ultimate control over the expression of meaning and the substance of reality. Now, it may be true that the path of affirmation is the only genuine way of experiencing others as they experience themselves, but it is a highly self-limiting form of expression and one that belies individual identity in pursuit of the group. For in accepting the assertive affirmation of others you undermine the individuality which precedes and induces the filter of negation. In its place is a form of identity which fuses the two halves of self, and which forces one to accept a non-consensual reality composed of others' expectations, which is really the crux of the problem because it means accepting the solidity and uniformity of a reality which is objective. Although the path of affirmation is certainly attractive, and perhaps even more honest for the self and expression, it is one not without the trappings of a physical view of reality based upon set rules and clear laws. It also represents a reality in which individuals are disconnected from their archetypal constellations in favor of a blending of the non-consensual realities of dualistic identities. That's the end of the podcast for today. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment and subscribe.